Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Hello, you're welcome to today's edition of Money Radio on Leadership Podcast. Money Radio, of course, is that program that brings to you the latest development in Nigeria's business and economic cycles and issues of businesses around the world. My name is Innocent Odo. Today, we're going to look at an important sector of the Nigerian economy. We're talking about growing the ICT sector to add value to the economy. And today we're interrogating the impact of the sale of the 3.5 gigahertz of spectrum to MTN and Mafab Communications Limited to the tune of $547 million. We are looking at how that will, the impact of this whopping sum of money to the Nigerian economy, especially in the pursuit of the diversification agenda of the Nigerian economy. In the Buhari administration, using the ICT as a driver to push for more diversification of the economy. And so yesterday, President Muhammadu Buhari was at the launching or the commissioning of the National Shared Services Center in Abuja, organized by the Galaxy Backbone Limited, where he made an assertion that the sum of $547 million realized from the sale of spectrum to MTN and the Mafab Communications Limited was indeed a very significant revenue base for the country, adding that he, of course, his government, will ensure that such milestones are sustained in boosting the capacity of the ICT sector to continue to generate even more funds for the Nigerian government and, of course, the Nigerian people. And so today we are looking at the impact of this sum of money in the ICT sector, especially when the ICT has contributed about 18.44% to the GDP in the second quarter of 2022. So altogether, we're going to look at the overall impact of this has made in the Nigerian economy. I am not alone in the studio. I am here with a very distinguished ICT expert with whom I'm going to do justice to this very important topic. I have in the studio my regular guest, Haniel Jafaru. Haniel, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Now, your ICT is one area that even if you're dreaming, Haniel, you dream ICT, you speak ICT, so ICT is the one area that is a place where you practically, have your hands on. And so, yesterday, President Buhari was at the National Shared Service Center in Abuja, where he launched that organ, of course, being managed by the Galaxy Backbone Limited. And so, realizing $547 million from the sale of spectrum, 3.5 gigawatts to MTN and Mafab for the 5G network was in focus once again. And the president also described that as a milestone and an important revenue base for the country. Now, in your estimation, was the president actually right in his, would I say, thumbs up for his government, for such amount realized?
Well, I would say yes. And the reason I would want to agree with him is considering the amount that has been realized from previous spectrum, even though we know that 5G is like a game changer in the whole telecom sphere industry. Notwithstanding, there may be other countries who would be auctioning their 5G and would not realize quarter of what we realize from two organizations. Because it's not about the amount you realize, but how much you realize from only two organizations. That means if there were, Nigeria has that very competitive telecoms industry, looking at the rate of 10 to 15 telecoms provider, real telecoms provider. That tool wouldn't have been the minimum they would have wanted. They would have looked at, let's say, 5 And if the amount they got from 2 is what they are getting from 5, it invariably means that it's going to be more. So raising $547 million from 2 telecoms providers, I think it's a good one for the country, and it's a good revenue drive for the country. But beyond that, what next?
Yes.
Because it's not just end in the amount realized. It's what the impact of the amount will be, not for Nigerians specifically, even though by extension it gets to Nigerians, but for the industry. I'm more particular about what that amount would do for the industry.
I was asking that question. What exactly would you think that, and in what specific areas do you think that amount can actually go a long way in addressing challenges of that industry?
Like it can go a long way, especially in the area of road licensing for laying of cables, where you have to meet certain government and certain state governors to take permission and to pay certain license for you to be able to lay cable through the state. So that amount can go a long way for infrastructural development. It can go a long way for rural telephoning, areas where cables are not laid through, and there must be internet in those areas or network in those areas. Then you can engage rural telephoning, which is the techniques and which is a research, a proven research strategy to ensure that all part of the country is covered with telecoms, voice and data-based telecom services. Yes, but again, why these are infrastructural need, there is also the place for us to understand that 5G on its own is nothing without other attributes.
Yes.
5G is like the vehicle. In the fourth, as we are entering the fourth industrial revolution, 5G is like the vehicle. But the vehicle is powered by an engine, and the engine is largely cloud technology.
Yes.
The cloud technology and 5G partnering together makes the environment enabling for the drivers to now drive these vehicles. And the drivers in this place are the innovations. The innovations are the drivers. So you can have 5G all over the country, which is a powerful vehicle. You can have it can leverage on cloud technology to run its services. But if you don't have the drivers, it has to that you just wasted that platform, because the drivers are the innovation that is run on 5G. So we need to ensure that we have those innovations available, those innovations are driven, those innovations are nurtured, they are grown, and they become a product for the world to use. If we don't do that, it has to that we probably have not been able to. It means we're not ready to leverage on the advantage that the fourth industrial revolution is coming.
Yes. So you talk so much about the fourth industrial revolution. The Director General of Backbone, Galaxy Backbone, Professor Muhammadu Buhari, also emphasized much on this. Nigeria playing a big role in the fourth industrial revolution. Of course, maybe we didn't make as much impact in the previous ones, but right now Nigeria is about to launch itself among prominent players in the fourth industrial revolution pedestal. Now the question is, what does it really take? Now you have mentioned we need to also look at other variables apart from the 5G itself. We also look at issues like cloud computing, Internet of Things, the issue of artificial intelligence, and you have also harped on this artificial intelligence and how it drives development in the industry. So, can you really, how can we really harness this? Like you said, if we don't put them together, we may not necessarily realize the objectives. So, how do we begin to put these variables together? The Internet of Things, the AI, cloud computing, and the rest of them.
Now, cloud computing, we largely don't have. Nigeria is not a cloud-focused area. Well, Thank God that Google is coming to me. Is it Google or Amazon? One of them, they're coming to set up their own cloud services in Nigeria, in Lagos. I know of Amazon, they launched in South Africa. If Nigeria becomes a hub where all these cloud service provider comes to set up, it means that we have the enablement for that cloud technology. So what we need at that point is probably to run, what we need at that point is to create an enabling environment that will bring forth this cloud service provider. But beyond that, there are cloud service provider from other countries. So we ourselves need to now create an enabling environment for our local cloud service providers to also leverage on the cloud market and make their services available to Nigerians and other parts of the world. Now,
to hold your thought on that, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, we will continue with the program. Don't go away.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're on to Money Radio, and we are interrogating the value of the $547 million realized from the sale of 3.5 gigahertz of spectrum to MTN and Mafab Communications Limited. So we are looking at how this amount can help boost the industry and, of course, serve as the needed revenue base for the Nigerian government. And I'm still in the studio with Haniel Jafaru. Haniel, you were making a point before I went on that short break. Can you elaborate on that?
okay, so once we make room for our available local cloud service provider to also leverage on the market and provide local cloud services to indigenous companies and the Nigerian people, and by extension to the global world. It means that at that point we have the cloud, the cloud technology, which is the engine that will definitely run on 5G to be available. Now again, you can have a vehicle with a powerful engine. The vehicle can remain at the same spot years to come if you don't have a driver that knows how to drive it.
Yes.
And the drivers in this case are the innovation. The innovations that will come forth as a result of the innovation landscape that is available. There are innovations coming forth in Internet of Things area. There are innovations coming forth in blockchain technology. There are innovations coming forth with virtual reality, augmented reality, extended reality, mixed reality. And now we realize recently Facebook changed from Facebook to Meta, because these guys don't live in the now. They live in the future. They only bring the future to the now. Yet so metaverse is also another innovation. Now I was discussing with someone. I was telling the person that very soon land in the metaverse will be more expensive than land in the physical domain. And it sounded strange because how would you say that land? What do you mean by land in the metaverse? That's actually the metaverse. Metaverse is a realm on its own. Everything that happens physically can happen in the metaverse. That's it's in the development stage. Just the way you have architects in the real world, you have architects in the metaverse. Just the way you have tables in the real world, you have tables in the metaverse. And just the way you build houses in the real world, you can build a house also in the metaverse. And people can live in the house. So someone can come and say that, I want to come visit you. You tell the person there's no need to come visit me because my house is a small one, but you have a 3-bedroom place in the metaverse. So you can say, let's meet in the metaverse. And in that metaverse, it will look as though that both of you are actually in front of each other because you'll be discussing. So this is it's just as if you're taking the whole innovation that are in this world, you're transferring, you are digitalizing innovation in another space, and that space is called the metaverse. So we can use this fund to pursue these opportunities and these innovations that are available by ensuring that this innovation drives the usage and the efficiency that 5G is bringing.
Okay, there's another issue that we looked at yesterday when the president was making his speech, and he talked about diversification of the economy, and the ICT sector and the digital economy happen to be the area of focus to drive that diversification agenda. The non-oil sector diversification, and so having contributed about 18.44% of the GDP in the second quarter of 2022. The ICT sector has in fact done so well. But for it to improve upon, a lot of these variables you mentioned, blockchain technology and the rest of them, need to have some veritable platforms to thrive. Right now, do we really have those platforms enabling those kind of variables to thrive, especially to help startup businesses in Nigeria? Do we have them? If we have them, what degree of impact have they made? And the impact is really sustainable in this current time as we go into the fourth industrial revolution.
You know, when it has to do with, there are startups springing forth from every part of this country through innovation hubs. So, but again, when you want to compare ourselves with Africans, with other parts of it, with other African countries, we're doing well. But African countries are not our destination. That's not where we should compete. We're competing with the globe. So we should look at the numbers of startups that are coming forth from the US, from the UK, from Germany, from Russia, from China, and compare the number of startups that are coming from Nigeria. That's how you use to measure your skill. Yes, we have startups that are spending forth, but how are they spending forth? They're spending forth largely by their own efforts, by their own strategy. Where is the role of government in all this? What is government doing to ensure that it improve the sustainability of startups? There are startups that started in 2014 and did not see the light of day. By 2015 they were down. It's not as though that the solution was not needed. It's only I can say that there was no enabling environment, no competitive environment that will make it to sustain itself. Probably no funds, because there are some solutions that are peculiar to Nigeria, and to take Nigerians to understand the kind of problem and that to understand the solution that startup is bringing forth. If you are selling that startup to somebody in the US, he would look at it from a business standpoint, and if he's looking at it from a business standpoint, it largely may not be convincingly so to that person because he's looking at it from a business standpoint. But if you're selling it to a person, a business person that is inside and resident in Nigeria, who understands the problem and understands the solution that this startup is bringing, it is easier for them to buy into that kind of solution than it's easier for them to buy into that startup than somebody from the foreign. So that has made many startups not be able to see the light of day, even though they started well. But in the long run, they just win. There are so many. Yes, so we need to now start looking at how we get our own local venture capitalists. Yes, we need to have our own local venture capitalists that understand the Nigerian terrain, understand the Nigerian problem, understand the Nigerian startup problem, because the Nigerian startup problem is also different from the Western startup problem, even though, yes, there is the general problem that has to do with availability of funds. But beyond that, there are other challenges in the Nigerian startup. Not until you go close to them, you won't be able to see, identify the problem. Not until you have one-on-one discussion with them, you may not be able to identify the problem. Especially in the area of how the country perceive local startups. You get if now what Nigerian startups are doing is that they start up a company in Nigeria, then they go to the US or the UK, register the same company and import the same company to Nigeria. So when you go to the team, you see a foreigner, you see okay, that means it means it has a reputation. You get so but and notwithstanding, by doing that, it now means that a portion of your income goes to that country. Yes. Nigeria is not completely benefiting. Again, the capitalist comes to invest in Nigerian companies and mandate Nigerian companies to open their head office in their own country so that they are able to control the company, even though the market is in Nigeria. For example, Flutterwave. Yes. Who owns Flutterwave? In Nigeria, founded Flutterwave. But who actually are the owner of Flutterwave? They are US-based company and US-based venture capitalists. Yes. So Flutterwave is just using Nigeria as a market, which is good. But again, the money, the tax and all the necessary company income tax doesn't come to Nigeria. It goes to the US. Yes. And North Flutterwave is just one of many, because there are so many startups that have succeeded in Nigeria that are not owned, but they are only founded by Nigerians.
So that is a challenge now. If the government can play that role, now they have realized such huge amount of money in dollars. How much of that, for instance, can be committed to ensuring that startups like this have an original indigenous base with that venture capital we're talking about?
It's really not about the amount, it's about how and where the amount goes to. Because is the amount going into seed capital, where you convert an idea into a product? Is the amount going to seed A, round A capital, whereby you convert the product, you send the product to the market? Is the amount going to round B capital, whereby you are able to expand your market size? Is it going to round C capital, whereby you're able to acquire other assets? So it really depends on where the amount is going to, and not necessarily how much is or the amount itself. So if $20 billion, for example, using an example of $20 million, with $20 million, you decide to put $5,000 per seed for seed capital. That means converting an idea into a product. That invariably means that you should be able to have nothing less than 200 or 100 to 200. That's 5,000 divided by $1 million. It means that you should get nothing less than over 100, 500, 500. What's it called? Startups. Having 500 startups in 1 year is good. What can be improved upon. And if you have 500 startups in 1 year, it invariably means that every startup should be able to employ a minimum of 5 persons. And that means that you multiply 500 by 2,500.
That's a
job
good number.
Has been. And these people are dependent cats. These are direct labor. We're not talking about the indirect labor and all that. So if you're putting it in round B, round A, round B, round C, and all that, you now have to analyze how much are we putting in there, what is it bringing forth, who would get employed, how many persons will this amount employ, and by the end of the day, you find out that the country is doing well by the strategic involvement of these funds in strategic places.
Wow. It's always a wonderful moment being with you, especially this sector, where I think at the tip of your fingers, you all have all the facts and figures and can go on and on. I wish we have all the time for us to continue with this important discussion, because that's a very good area in the Nigerian economy. Startup businesses that we need to, in fact, fund properly to help them grow, so that we can, in fact, employ young people into this sector and make more funding available for Nigerians to grow the economy, so that the re-diversification agenda can take its place in the country. We have been discussing about the value of 547 million dollars realized from the sale of 3.5 gigahertz spectrum to MTN and the Mafab Communications Limited. And we talked about how this whopping amount of money can go into the sector and boost areas that can also add more value to the Nigerian economy. So I've been in the studio with my guest, who is an ICT expert, Hania Defaru. Hania, thank you so much once again for joining us in the studio. And it's on that note that we draw the curtains on today's edition of Money Radio. We promise to bring you a bumper edition when next week comes. Stay blessed and goodbye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.